In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone, the Great Depression, passed the tariff bill, anyone, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which raised or lowered, anyone, raised tariffs in order to collect more revenue for the federal government. Please tell me you know that movie. The movie is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and that is the classroom scene, Ben Stein teaching economics. Me personally, I was an economics major in college, so for Ben Stein to explain the Hawley-Smoot tariff and its effect on the Great Depression to me is fascinating. In fact, right here I have my own copy of The Wealth of Nations. As you can see, it's a little worn out and fingerprinted because, unlike some people, I actually read the books that I talk about on the internet. But even though I'm fascinated by that segment of the movie, it goes down in history as one of the most boring moments in the history of cinema. I'm sorry to say. But I have to ask, what would have happened if Ben Stein had given the same lecture with PowerPoint? Would it have been more interesting? I would argue that the lesson would have been 3 times as boring. Why do I say 3 times? Number 1, he would have needed to turn off the lights. 2, walk to the back of the classroom and talk to the backs of their heads. Or turn and look at the screen like this. It's one thing to interact with your board, it's another thing the screen. And the third thing, there's no interaction, there's no engagement of the students. Now admittedly, anyone is not exactly the greatest way to interact with your students and engage them, but at least he tried. He's more of an economist than he is a teacher. Now, I might sound like I'm going on a Sunday afternoon rant. And the reason for that is because right now it's Sunday afternoon and I'm ranting. That's why it's a Sunday afternoon rant. I'm a teacher and I love teaching. When I was a student, I loved learning, but I never liked school. As a teacher, I still love teaching. I still don't like school. Do you know why? The number one frustration as a teacher is that everybody is an expert except for the people who actually do the job. Now, maybe you work in law enforcement. You're thinking, oh, those poor teachers. Now, I know we're not the only ones. The real problem with people having that attitude about teachers is that the only way we can do our jobs without any hassle is when outside influence give us our resources to do the job. And that number one resource is PowerPoint. Not because it works, not because it's the best thing for you, but because it's a default. If you look at my most recent blog post about cardio machines, it's called Get Off the Human Hamster Wheel. We talk about cardio machines. They're the most common thing we use in the gym. Because they're the best? No, because they're guaranteed. It's a guaranteed workout. Just like PowerPoint is not the best material, but it is a guaranteed lesson. If you're a college student, university student, and your professor presents with PowerPoint a lot, I want to tell you a little secret. There's a good chance those PowerPoints have been provided by the textbook publisher, another expert that knows more than we do about teaching. And the professor hasn't even looked at them. They just put it up on the screen and said, oh, there it is. Then they get their test questions from a test bank and put it out there and say, yeah, I taught you class. No, you didn't. The teachers are every bit as much the problem as the outside experts, because if you get together with your fellow teachers and decide how to present something, somebody is going to say, PowerPoint. It's almost like the old game of 1, 2, 3, not it. Like the first person to say PowerPoint somehow wins a prize. And then I have to be the bad guy to say, no, it's not going to work. And then the argument ensues. If you go on to fitpresenter.com, click on the tab that says speech coaching, you'll see a picture of me giving a demonstration to a group of teachers. It was a workshop, so there are different stations and we present our ideas. The reason why I am the one presenting is because I won the argument. It's just like I say about the gym, that no matter how much technology they bring in, Whether the machine has a 3-horsepower motor and a heart rate sensor and a digital interface that you can hook up to your cell phone, no technology is better than the human body. This is the most refined piece of technology that exists on this planet. The same thing with the classroom. The number one resource is not a digital technological resource. The number one resource in the classroom is the people, the interaction you have with the people. And that also translates to the conference room and the banquet room. No matter what resources you use, and you can use PowerPoint if you want for visual elements, not for text. If you use that, it doesn't matter. The number one resource is always the interaction with your audience. And that is the progress. The progress is not the technology. People accuse me of being a Luddite, being just a backward person who doesn't like technology. For example, let me show you my cell phone. Actually, let me show you my phone. Here it is. And if you know me from the old days, you know this is hereditary. But it's not technology that's bringing the progress. In fact, PowerPoint is nothing more than a digital version of Ben Stein's chalkboard. The difference, the progress in how we present is how we interact with people. Speaking of movies, let's think about an old movie with a great speech like Spartacus. We used to watch that in school when we took Latin class. And Spartacus, we march tonight. There was no interaction, no engagement, okay, here's a mace. Do we use this in close quarters or from distance? Close quarters, very good. Okay, good job, Ludicus, whatever the hell his name was. We didn't see that kind of interaction. That is the progress that we see in speaking. It's not technology. Technology halts progress and it halts the best presentations. So I'm on a mission with Fit Presenter to make sure that what you as a fellow personal trainer take an audience, you don't come across like Ben Stein, the economics teacher. You don't come across like some pontificating, oh, look at the PowerPoint slide. Look at the slide. Look at the slide. Slide number 1, slide number 10, slide number 100, and then the last slide. Any questions? Your presentation is going to suck. Want to do something about it? Go to fitpresenter.com. Nice little plug for you. In the Fit Presenter speech writing kit, which you can get for free by filling out the contact form on fitpresenter.com, the things we look for are not what resources are you going to use, what are you going to do. We focus on what is your audience going to do. The first question we ask is, what reactions do you want from your audience? The next question is, what will you do to get that reaction? And then the final question in that series is, what will you do to transition from that reaction into the point that you're going to make? There's another section in the kit about misconceptions, because in fitness, you can't talk fitness unless you talk about the misconceptions that your audience has, because everybody has misconceptions, even me. I just don't know what they are. So I hope this gives you the confidence to step away from the digital crutches, step away from the PowerPoint, get yourself a speech writing kit, get your material ready to get on the stage, and we march tonight. Are you ready? Anyone? Anyone?